Win the protagonist's sister at the beginning and be rewarded with supreme bone. Chapter 16. Lu Chen waved his hand and said, "It's just a small breakthrough." He was not surprised that Zhang Yuchen could see that his strength had improved a lot. After all, Zhang Yuchen is one of the super geniuses in the Shenhuang realm and the princess of the Zhang family of the Emperor clan. Although both of them are the saints of the absolute beginning Holy Land, in the original work, the talents and strengths of both parties have never been on the same level. Without the advantages of the system and Wen Shu, Lu Chen doesn't think he would have a chance to stand alongside or even surpass them in the future. Even now, Lu Chen has merged with Supreme Bone and his strength has improved a lot. Lu Chen has no confidence that he can defeat the elegant girl in front of him. Zhang Yuchen glanced at Lu Chen meaningfully and said nothing more. Zhang Yuchen then said to Lu Chen in front, "Master Lu Chen, this is your first time to come to my Saintess Peak. Let me show you the scenery of our Saintess Peak. Then I'd rather be respectful than obey your orders." Lu Chen agreed happily. Immediately afterwards, the two of them played around on the Saintess Peak. While admiring the beautiful scenery around them, the two discussed their insights into various martial arts, divine ability. Now that Lu Chen has heaven-defying comprehension, he has all kinds of insights at his fingertips, and some of the words he said made Zhang Yuchen very rewarding. As a super prodigy in the divine desolate world, Zhang Yuchen's own understanding is also top-notch. Coupled with the background of the Emperor clan, she also has many unique insights of her own. The two chatted happily and the communication was extremely harmonious. This is the first time I have seen Her Majesty the Holy Lady talk so happily with others. Looking at it this way, the two of them are so well matched, they are simply a match made in heaven. In the distance behind the two of them, some disciples from Saints' Peak looked at Lu Chen and Zhang Yuchen in the distance and said with surprised expressions. The same is true for Yunur on the side. She has served Zhang Yuchen for so many years and knows that although Zhang Yuchen has a gentle temper, she is extremely arrogant in her heart. There were many super geniuses from the central region before, but Zhang Yuchen didn't look good at all. It's really incredible that he and Lu Chen can talk so harmoniously now. No one is allowed to tell anyone what happened today. Yunur seemed to have thought of something, and then said to the many disciples around her with sharp eyes. "Yes, senior sister Yunur, we will definitely keep it secret." Everyone agreed one after another. Not long after, as the sun set, Zhang Yuchen ended the discussion and set up a banquet in the palace to entertain Lu Chen. Everyone says that I, Zhang Yuchen, am the top genius in the eastern region. Little did they know that the absolute beginning Holy Land also hides a freak like you, who is not inferior to those super geniuses in the central region. Zhang Yuchen said softly to Lu Chen who was drinking in front of him, her eyes full of brilliance. Originally, Zhang Yuchen was still a little hesitant, wondering whether the previous feeling was her own illusion. However, after the discussion and exchange just now, Zhang Yuchen was absolutely sure that Lu Chen was definitely not as simple as he seemed on the surface. Some of the insights he casually said made her feel like she was listening to the sermons of the clan elders. Including the aura exuding from his body, it is as vast as the stars and the sea, with a kind of mystery that is difficult to notice and grasp. Although there is still a big gap between Lu Chen's cultivation and those super geniuses, in Zhang Yuchen's view, with Lu Chen's current potential and foundation, it is only a matter of time before he grows into a super genius in the future. Lu Chen drank a glass of spiritual wine and said nonchalantly, "Miss Yuchen, you deserve the award." If someone else received Zhang Yuchen's praise, they might be happy, but Lu Chen didn't care too much. He knew that the world was so big that even though he had the advantages of systems and books, he didn't dare to reach the top with absolute certainty. Zhang Yuchen did not discuss this topic again, but asked Lu Chen's purpose of coming. "By the way, why did Mr. Lu Chen come to our Saintess Peak?" The previous conversation was so harmonious that Zhang Yuchen even forgot to ask Lu Chen about his purpose. Lu Chen's eyes were clear and he looked at Zhang Yuchen calmly. "I heard that Miss Yuchen is suffering from a Taoist injury. I happen to have mastered a mysterious divine ability. Maybe I can try it for Miss Yuchen to see if I can cure it." Dao injury. Is it for my injury? Zhang Yuchen frowned slightly, but she didn't expect Lu Chen to come to Saintess Peak because of this. After being silent for a long time, Zhang Yuchen let out a breath of turbid air and said helplessly, Master Lu Chen, I appreciate your kindness, but my Taoist injury. Lu Chen's eyes were firm and he interrupted Zhang Yuchen's words. He still looked calmly at Zhang Yuchen in front of him. How will you know if you don't try? Is Miss Yuchen just accepting her fate like this? Are you accepting your fate? Looking at Lu Chen in front of her, Zhang Yuchen felt as if her heart was touched by his gaze, causing many ripples. Your Highness the Holy Lady, please let Your Highness the Holy Sun take a look. Your injuries have been bothering you for a long time. Yunur on the side couldn't help but persuaded. Although Yunur knew that there was little hope, Yunur didn't want to let go of any opportunity. Moreover, Lu Chen seemed to have changed a lot from before, and he was so close to Zhang Yuchen, so Yunur thought she could give it a try. Then please trouble Mr. Lu Chen to check it out for me. Zhang Yuchen hesitated for a moment, thinking of Lu Chen's unique insights and his profound gaze that seemed to penetrate people's hearts, and finally agreed. Immediately afterwards, Zhang Yuchen took Lu Chen into a secret training room in the palace. In the secret cultivation room, the spiritual power of heaven and earth is extremely rich, and there are many spirit gathering arrays. The rich spiritual power has almost condensed into substance. In the center of the secret cultivation room, there is also a wide spiritual pool with a large amount of spiritual liquid in it. She is worthy of being the princess of the Emperor clan. The concentration of spiritual power in this secret training room is more than 10 times that of my Saint Child Peak spiritual land. Looking at the rich spiritual power around him and the top-notch cultivation resources everywhere, Lu Chen couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Master Lu Chen, my Dao injury is on my back. Please tell me how Master Lu Chen can detect it. After entering the secret training room, Zhang Yuchen blinked her eyes and looked at Lu Chen. Lu Chen said slowly, Miss Yuchen, just give me your hand. Zhang Yuchen nodded, then stretched out her white and delicate palms. Lu Chen gently held Zhang Yuchen's hand in his palm, and then used his soul power to explore Zhang Yuchen's physical condition. Zhang Yuchen looked at Lu Chen who was carefully feeling her body, and her heart was slightly rippled. It was the first time that someone held her hand like this, which made her body feel a little uncomfortable. Sure enough, Zhang Yuchen's Dao injury was not caused by injury at all, but because its origin was too powerful, so powerful that even the laws of this world cannot accommodate it. After some investigation, Lu Chen determined the cause of Zhang Yuchen's Dao injury. Zhang Yuchen's physique is extremely powerful. She is a legendary fairy spirit body, possessing extremely terrifying fairy power that surpasses spiritual power. Although the Divine Desolate World is a powerful top-level fantasy world, there are countless peak experts. However, it is still essentially a world of spiritual power, a world without the existence of immortal Dao laws. Zhang Yuchen's fairy spirit body can be fully exerted in the immortal world where the laws of immortal Dao exist. In this world of gods and desolate beings, it will be suppressed by the laws of heaven and earth. Zhang Yuchen's Taoist injury also exists for this reason. The fault is not Zhang Yuchen's, but the world's. Master Lu Chen, what's going on? Have you found any results? After a while, Zhang Yuchen saw Lu Chen retracting his palm and asked. Lu Chen nodded, without concealing Zhang Yuchen's question, and said, it's Miss Yang's physical problem that is somewhat incompatible with the laws of heaven and earth in the divine desolate realm, which led to the appearance of Taoist injuries. Hearing Lu Chen's words, Zhang Yuchen said with a complicated expression, young Master Lu has a sharp eye, and he actually saw the problem at a glance. In the past, the problem of Dao injuries frequently appeared. The Zhang family spent a huge sum of money to find an ancestor who was a living fossil in the alchemy Holy Land to check, and the results were consistent with what Lu Chen said. The ancestor proposed some methods, but the risks were extremely high. Even if she could survive by chance, Zhang Yuchen would become a waste unable to practice. This was something Zhang Yuchen couldn't accept, so she refused and just used the elixir from their alchemy Holy Land for recuperation. Zhang Yuchen asked, does Mr. Lu have any treatment method? Lu Chen replied, yes. I knew it, Mr. Lu would check it out, I'm already used to it. Zhang Yuchen thought Lu Chen had no way to solve it, so she felt a little depressed and said in a soft voice. Before she finished speaking, Zhang Yuchen seemed to realize something. She looked straight at Lu Chen in front of her and said in disbelief, wait a minute, Mr. Lu, you said, you have a way. Lu Chen smiled slightly and said, yes, there is a way. Hearing Lu Chen's clear voice, Zhang Yuchen was slightly absent-minded. Her family had taken her to visit many famous medical ancestors since she was a child. However, the results obtained are no solutions. Even the ancestors of the Alan Cauldron Holy Land are not absolutely sure and can only take some relief. Now, Lu Chen actually said there is a way. Master Lu is not looking for my happiness. Zhang Yuchen bit her red lips and looked straight at the handsome Lu Chen in front of her. Lu Chen's eyes were soft and he said slowly, Miss Yuchen will know if it succeeds or not after just one try. Zhang Yuchen nodded and said, okay, then let Mr. Lu have a try. Lu Chen asked, is Miss Yang's Dao injury on her back? I need to treat Miss Yuchen's Dao injury through the wound. Yes, Mr. Lu. Zhang Yuchen replied, taking off her upper body and skirt. Zhang Yuchen seemed a little shy, hugging her chest and looking at Lu Chen with blushing cheeks. Then, Zhang Yuchen turned around and exposed her smooth and jade-like back in front of Lu Chen. Zhang Yuchen's skin is extremely delicate, as moving as suet. However, there was a red mark like a wound on the back, and within the mark there were traces of the majestic great Dao aura. Lu Chen put away his thoughts and said to Zhang Yuchen, Miss Yuchen, I'm going to start, it might hurt a little. Zhang Yuchen said in a soft but firm voice, no matter how hard Mr. Lu Chen uses it, Yuchen can still endure some pain. Lu Chen didn't speak anymore, but pressed his palm to Zhang Yuchen's red mark. Whoosh whoosh. The moment he pressed on the mark, Lu Chen activated his supreme bone and absorbed the powerful fairy spirit in Zhang Yuchen's body. It is difficult to solve Zhang Yuchen's Taoist injury. It is not difficult to say that it is not difficult. The key to the solution is to absorb the excess fairy spirit source energy from Zhang Yuchen's body. However, ingesting this fairy spirit source energy will withstand the impact of extremely powerful source power. It requires an extremely strong physique to withstand it, such as the ancient holy body and Lu Chen's supreme bone level of super physique. Moreover, ingesting the fairy source energy is not the most difficult. After ingesting the fairy source energy, Zhang Yuchen's original foundation will be greatly damaged, and her life and soul will be damaged at every turn. This involves the origin of the Great Tao, and even the ancestors of the Alan Cauldron Holy Land can't do anything about it. The Phoenix Nirvana Sutra, obtained by Lu Chen at Silver Sword Peak, can solve this problem. In the original work, Yi Bufan relied on the heaven-defying Phoenix Nirvana Sutra to successfully treat Zhang Yuchen. As Lu Chen took in, Zhang Yuchen's face became extremely pale, and sweat flowed from her forehead. The pain that almost tore her soul made her extremely painful. However, she still bit her silver teeth and persisted without letting out any screams. Voice. The supreme bone on Lu Chen's chest also revealed golden divine patterns under the impact of the original power of the fairy body, resisting the powerful impact. Not long after, under Lu Chen's ingestion, a trace of golden spiritual energy containing extremely pure power flowed above Lu Chen's dantian. I got it, the source of fairy spirit. Seeing this ray of golden aura in his dantian, Lu Chen felt very satisfied and his eyes were full of joy. The reason why Lu Chen came to help Zhang Yuchen treat her was because he planned to capture the destined heroine. Another reason is this fairy source energy. Immortal spirit source qi is the source energy that contains the origin of the immortal spirit body. It is a very rare spiritual object of heaven and earth. It can not only be used to improve cultivation, soul, and body, but can also be used to refine elixirs and even various top-level spiritual treasures. Moreover, the fairy source energy also has a very mysterious effect. If there is enough fairy source energy, the holy fairy soul can be condensed. The holy immortal soul is a soul light that has reached the immortal grade. It is very powerful and has heaven-defying potential. It is said that the condensed holy immortal soul can increase the probability of hitting the immortal realm. It is a heaven-defying divine object that makes countless peak powerhouses and even the supreme great emperor go crazy. However, if you want to condense the holy immortal soul, you need a lot of immortal spirit source qi, and the immortal spirit source qi provided by an ordinary immortal spirit body is completely insufficient. Moreover, fairy spirit bodies are usually born in the immortal world. Zhang Yuchen was an accident. However, this Zhang Yuchen's physique is different. Because she is in the divine desolate realm, the differences in the Great Tao's laws have allowed her original power to reach an extremely exaggerated level, which is completely enough for me to condense the holy immortal soul. Lu Chen murmured in his heart. PFF'd. At this time, Zhang Yuchen suddenly spat out a stream of blood from her mouth. Her face suddenly became extremely pale, without a trace of blood, and her vitality was rapidly dissipating. At this time, Zhang Yuchen could no longer hold on any longer and fell into Lu Chen's arms. No, I forgot to treat her. Seeing Zhang Yuchen become so weak, Lu Chen didn't have time to feel the charm in his arms, so he quickly activated the Phoenix Nirvana Sutra to start treating Zhang Yuchen's body. After the previous practice, Lu Chen's Phoenix Nirvana Sutra has reached the third layer, and the therapeutic effect has been greatly improved. With the operation of the Phoenix Nirvana Sutra, the three fiery red spiritual cores in Lu Chen's dantian began to release the mysterious power of Nirvana. Whoosh whoosh. The fiery red Nirvana power poured into Zhang Yuchen's body. Zhang Yuchen, who had been nourished by the power of the Phoenix Nirvana Sutra, saw visibly improved health. Her face slowly turned rosy, and she slowly opened her eyes. I'm not dead. Zhang Yuchen looked at Lu Chen, who was trying his best to treat her in front of her, and was slightly stunned. When the origin of the fairy spirit body was extracted just now, the pain made Zhang Yuchen think that she was going to fall into hell. Now feeling that her body is slowly getting better, Zhang Yuchen has a dreamy feeling of returning to the world from hell in an instant. Because of the existence of this feeling, Zhang Yuchen felt as if there was a hazy figure in her heart. This figure seemed to be somewhat similar to Lu Chen in front of her. Seeing Zhang Yuchen wake up, Lu Chen asked worriedly, Miss Yuchen, are you okay? Zhang Yuchen's face turned slightly red and she said softly, no, it's okay. Lu Chen then asked, I have absorbed some of the essence of the fairy spirit body. Can you feel the injuries and see if they have recovered a little? Zhang Yuchen closed her eyes, felt her body, and found that her body felt much more relaxed, and the feeling of being suppressed by the great Tao of heaven and earth had weakened. It really works. Zhang Yuchen's eyes were filled with joy. Although it was only slightly weakened, it still gave Zhang Yuchen hope. She had tried countless times for this Taoist injury and failed. She didn't expect Lu Chen to succeed. Lu Chen continued, then continue, I just took in a little bit, and there is more excess source power. Zhang Yuchen readily agreed. Then, Lu Chen continued to absorb the excess fairy spirit body essence in Zhang Yuchen's body. Time passed slowly, and soon, a few hours later, Lu Chen's face became much pale. Ingesting the essence of the fairy spirit body is also a huge load for Lu Chen's supreme bone. However, there are already 10 strands of fairy spirit energy in Lu Chen's body, exuding extremely mysterious power. Not only that, after absorbing the origins of many immortal spiritual bodies, Lu Chen's cultivation level has also improved a lot, reaching the 9th layer of creation realm, and is only one step away from the Tao Palace realm. Zhang Yuchen also slowly opened her eyes at this time. After the excess original power of the fairy spirit body was extracted, Zhang Yuchen's Tao injuries recovered a lot compared to before, making Zhang Yuchen feel unprecedentedly relaxed. Thank you Mr. Lu for your help. Thank you for your hard work Mr. Lu. Zhang Yuchen looked at Lu Chen, whose face was pale and didn't seem to have much blood, and she quickly expressed her gratitude. Lu Chen waved his hand and said nonchalantly, Miss Yuchen's treatment needs many more treatments. Let's stop here this time. Your body also needs to recover. Well, I listened to Mr. Lu. Zhang Yuchen agreed. Zhang Yuchen could also feel that although Lu Chen's secret healing method was powerful, after absorbing the essence of the fairy spirit body, Zhang Yuchen's origin was depleted and could not be easily recovered. Master Lu, I can put on my clothes now. Zhang Yuchen felt a cool feeling in front of her body at this time, and also remembered that she didn't seem to be fully dressed. Zhang Yuchen had no time to care about the pain caused by ingesting the source just now. Now that she has recovered a little, the feeling of shame rushes straight into her heart. Thinking that she had been with Lu Chen in this state for so long, Zhang Yuchen was so shy that her delicate face was filled with blush. Lu Chen's mouth twitched slightly, and after taking a still unfinished look at the charming peak scenery, he said with clear eyes, of course. Zhang Yuchen stood up and took out a brand new gorgeous dress from the space ring. After taking out the long skirt, I put it on directly. However, at this moment, Zhang Yuchen suddenly lost strength. The weakness from absorbing the essence of the fairy body suddenly broke out, and Zhang Yuchen's body fell down. The weak Lu Chen didn't expect that Zhang Yuchen would suddenly fall on him. He didn't react for a moment and was crushed to the ground by Zhang Yuchen's body. The two bodies fell to the ground. Zhang Yuchen was breathing lightly, her face was rosy, and her eyes were panicked. Thank you, Mr. Liu. Zhang Yuchen said shyly and gratefully. Sure enough, Zhang Yuchen is the same as in the original work. Although she has an extremely cold temper and looks like a flower on the high mountain, she is still very soft in her heart. As long as I cultivate a little bit of goodwill with her, I can get along well with her. Even if you do something a little excessive to it, it doesn't matter. Now it seems that it is indeed the case. The more cold and holy a woman looks like a fairy, the more. Lu Chen stroked Zhang Yuchen's scattered hair and said in a soft voice, Yuchen, you're welcome. Yuchen, your Dao injury should be treated 6 more times and it will be almost completely resolved. Before it is completely cured, it is best not to activate the source of the fairy spirit in the body. Otherwise, it will intensify the ravages of the source and increase the number of people who need to be completely cured. Time. Lu Chen then said to Zhang Yuchen, telling Zhang Yuchen how many times more treatment was needed. Zhang Yuchen nodded and said softly, I understand, thank you Mr. Liu, Yuchen will remember it. Mr. Liu, it's really troublesome for you to heal Taoist injuries. This is Yuchen's wish. I hope Mr. Liu can accept it. Zhang Yuchen thought for a moment, then took out a mysterious and simple ring, and said slowly to Lu Chen. This is it. Looking at the mysterious and simple ring in front of him, Lu Chen asked doubtfully. Lu Chen could feel that this ring contained extremely mysterious power, but he didn't know what it was. Zhang Yuchen continued, Master Liu, this is just a small ancient ring of the void. The ancient ring of the void is the ancient ring of the void Great Emperor. Hearing Zhang Yuchen's words, Lu Chen's pupils shrank and his heart was full of surprise. The ancient ring of the void is the ring of the great emperor of the void in ancient times. Although it is not the ultimate emperor weapon, it contains the ultimate power of the void and can activate the power of the void inside to travel through the void at will. Moreover, when encountering fatal danger, it will also take the initiative to trigger and lead the owner away from danger. Even if he is attacked by the Supreme Sage or even the Quasi-Emperor Supreme, he can still escape unharmed. It can be said that this is the ultimate life-saving divine weapon. To a certain extent, it is even more precious than the Emperor weapon. After all, this ring can protect yourself well without consuming your own power. She is worthy of being the princess of the Emperor clan. Her background is so profound that she even possesses top divine objects such as the ancient void ring. Looking at the void ancient ring in front of him, Lu Chen murmured in his heart. Zhang Yuchen saw that Lu Chen knew the name of the void ancient ring, and then said with a serious face, yes, it is the void ancient ring of the void great emperor. Mr. Liu is indeed well informed. Mr. Liu healed my Taoist injuries and treated me. It can be said that there is a gift of renewal, it is just an ancient vow in the void, please be sure to accept it. Ding, the host healed Zhang Yuchen, the heroine of destiny, and Zhang Yuchen gave the host the void ancient ring, triggering the god-level choice. Option 1. Reject Zhang Yuchen's gift and express his love, and reward Zhang Yuchen's favorability +10. Option 2. Refuse Zhang Yuchen's gift, and use it as a threat to make Zhang Yuchen sacrifice her life, and reward Zhang Yuchen's protector Yuchen Quasi-Emperor with the 7 kills sword chi. Choice 3. Accept the ancient void ring openly and be rewarded with the Immortal Sutra 1. At this moment, a cold mechanical sound sounded in Lu Chen's mind. God-level choices have been triggered. Sure enough, more contact with the protagonist and those destiny heroines will have the opportunity to trigger more choices. Lu Chen thought in his heart the moment he heard the system sound. Lu Chen also tried to interact with other characters before, but the God-level choice was not triggered. However, this choice, looking at these choices, Lu Chen's heart froze. Is this a choice? Choice 1 is obviously a dog-licking choice, and there is a hammer for your favorability. As for option 2, it looked too tempting, but Lu Chen felt that he still needed to be a little more honest with the 7 kills sword chi of the protector Yuchen Quasi-Emperor. However, this choice also let Lu Chen know that Zhang Yuchen was not easy to move and was protected by the guardians of the Emperor realm. If I really do something outrageous, I'm afraid. Lu Chen was also grateful in his heart. Fortunately, he did not force himself during the treatment. Otherwise, he would be in danger now. Still having to choose three, Lu Chen made his decision in a moment. Miss Yuchen, then I will accept it. Lu Chen then said slowly, and calmly took the ancient void ring handed over by Zhang Yuchen. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the choice and obtaining the Immortal Sutra. Immortal Sutra, the supreme immortal Tao grade technique, practiced to perfection, can make you immortal and transcend eternity. The moment Chase Lu made his choice, the system prompt sounded in his mind again. At the same time, a golden scroll appeared in Lu Chen's system space, which was the technique of the Immortal Sutra. The supreme immortal Tao grade Kung Fu, Lu Chen felt excited when he heard the voice in his mind. The immortal Tao grade technique is a super technique that transcends the emperor level and should not exist in the divine world at all. Now, the system has given it to me directly and easily. If you practice this skill to perfection, you will still be immortal and transcend eternity. The system is so powerful, Lu Chen couldn't help but admire it in his heart. When Zhang Yuchen saw Lu Chen accept his ancient ring openly, the soft color in her eyes became more obvious. Then, Zhang Yuchen led Lu Chen out of the secret room and asked Yuner to prepare a banquet for Lu Chen. On the top of Tianji Peak, a young man with a delicate face sat cross-legged on the top of the mountain. The young man's whole body exuded an unusually majestic spiritual energy. In the young man's body, there seemed to be 6 shackles of heaven and earth, which are sealing the secrets in the young man's body. Boom! After a while, a terrifying roar sounded, and an extremely powerful energy of life and death appeared in the young man's body. After the chi of life and death appeared, the 8 chi of life and death that originally existed in the young man's body suddenly rushed out, and the 9 chi of life and death were constantly intertwined and flowing in the young man's dantian. Life and Death Realm 9th Layer Heaven, break the 4 holy body shackles. Lu Chen, what are you going to do to win me? I will never give you any chance to step on me again. After a while, Yi Bufan slowly opened his eyes, his cold eyes full of blood-red hatred. Brother, you have reached the pinnacle of life and death realm. At this time, the pure and charming Yi Lingxi, dressed in a light green dress, came to Yi Bufan's side, her eyes full of joy. Yi Lingxi could feel that Yi Bufan's strength had improved a lot compared to a few days ago, and the energy of life and death in his body had reached its extreme. Yes, life and death realm has reached its peak. Now, that guy Lu Chen will never humiliate me again. I will repay the humiliation he gave me 1,000 times. Yi Bufan clenched his fists and said coldly. Thinking of the humiliation he suffered a few days ago, Yi Bufan's heart was filled with overwhelming anger. Since he broke the shackles of the holy body, this was the first time he had been humiliated like this, which he couldn't accept at all. When Yi Lingxi heard Yi Bufan's words, there was a hint of gloom in her heart, and she wanted to persuade her brother. However, looking at Yi Bufan who was so angry and hateful, Yi Lingxi still did not persuade her. She knew that her brother was extremely arrogant and could not tolerate any sand in his eyes, so her persuasion would only be counterproductive. However, if he doesn't persuade his brother and his brother goes to provoke Lu Chen again, if there is any danger, will he have to? Thinking of this, Yi Lingxi sighed in her heart, feeling as if she had fallen into an endless vortex of terror. It seems that she has to think of other ways, Yi Lingxi sighed in her heart. However, thinking of the scene of practicing with Lu Chen, Yi Lingxi seemed to have a subtle feeling in her heart. Her graceful body trembled slightly, and it seemed that such a feeling. Lingxi, please take me to see Miss Yuchen again. Now that I have reached the peak of life and death realm, I have broken the 4 shackles, and I am confident that I can alleviate Miss Yuchen's injuries. After a while, Yi Bufan continued to say to Yi Lingxi. Hearing Yi Bufan's words, Yi Lingxi was stunned, and then said, Brother, didn't you say that you are not sure about solving Yuchen's injuries yet? Yi Bufan slowly raised his head and said, Don't worry, it was before and it is now. I am no longer the same. Since I dare to speak, I must be sure. Yi Bufan's soul is extremely powerful. When he met Zhang Yuchen last time, he also noticed the key to Zhang Yuchen's Dao injury. Originally, he didn't have much confidence that Zhang Yuchen could be cured, so he put his hope in the main peak of Silver Sword Peak, trying to get a solution from there. Unexpectedly, Chase Lu took the lead. However, when he absorbed the essence and blood of the holy body to break the shackles, he obtained the inherited secret technique of the holy body in the essence and blood of the holy body, which could solve Zhang Yuchen's Dao injury problem. Then I'll take you there again. Yi Lingxi nodded and agreed to Yi Bufan. She knew Zhang Yuchen's identity, so she didn't mind if her brother could have more contact with him. It would be great if we could solve Zhang Yuchen's physical problems and gain the friendship of the Zhang family. Then, Yi Lingxi took Yi Bufan to Saintess Peak again. Her Royal Highness the Saint is receiving His Royal Highness the Sun. There are no outsiders. Lingxi, please take this guy back. In front of the Saintess Peak, Zhang Yuchen's maid Yun'er said to Yi Lingxi, who had just arrived and requested to meet Zhang Yuchen. Lu Chen, how could Yuchen meet a guy like Lu Chen? It's impossible, it's absolutely impossible. Before Yi Lingxi could say anything, Yi Bufan next to him broke through his guard, his face became extremely ugly, and the inspiration in his body kept rioting. In Yi Bufan's view, Lu Chen was heinous and a complete villain, and he had no qualifications to approach Zhang Yuchen, the perfect goddess who was like a fairy in the Moon Palace. Not to mention, Yi Bufan has already regarded Zhang Yuchen as his woman. Now that I heard this news, how could I not make Yi Bufan feel angry? After hearing Yi Bufan's words, Yun'er's face became extremely cold, and the inspiration in her body continued to surge. His Royal Highness the Holy Sun is a distinguished guest of our Saintess Peak. If you insult His Highness the Holy Sun again, don't blame me for being rude. Yi Bufan took a deep breath and then said in a deep voice, Miss Yun'er, I have found a way to relieve Fairy Yuchen's injury. Please let me see Fairy Yuchen. The top priority is to solve Zhang Yuchen's Taoist injury and capture Zhang Yuchen's heart. This is the key. As for Lu Chen, he has reached the peak of life and death realm, and with Elder Qin Yuning as his backer, there are many opportunities to suppress Lu Chen. Yun'er sneered and said disdainfully, relieving the injuries of His Highness the Saint. Oh, no need, His Highness the Sun has already healed the body of the saint. Lu Chen treated Fairy Yuchen's injury. How is this possible? How could he have such a method? He must be deceiving Fairy Yuchen. As soon as Yun'er's words came out, Yi Bufan's face turned pale, dumbfounded, and he clenched his teeth, obviously not believing the words. Let me see Fairy Yuchen. That guy must be deceiving Fairy Yuchen. I want to expose that guy. Yi Bufan continued, his face becoming extremely distorted. Yun'er's eyes were cold and her voice was cold and stern. Who gave you the courage to disrespect His Royal Highness the Holy Sun? With that said, Yun'er wanted to have Yi Bufan arrested. Upon seeing this, Yi Lingxi quickly apologized to Yun'er, and then pulled the extremely angry Yi Bufan away from Saint's Peak. Yi Bufan, who left the Saint's Peak, still looked extremely ugly and murmured in a low voice, How is it possible, how is it possible? Brother, it's time for you to wake up. Lu Chen is not an easy guy. We'd better not fight him. You should practice hard and there will be many opportunities in the future. Seeing her brother like this, Yi Lingxi couldn't bear it anymore and spoke out to persuade him. Having been in contact with Chase many times, Yi Lingxi knew how scary Chase was, and maybe there was really a way to solve Yuchen's injuries. Yes, that guy is not simple, unlike those wastes before. However, I have broken the 4 shackles of heaven and earth, and reached the peak of life and death realm. I am just short of a chance to prove myself. Yi Bufan clenched his fists and whispered, the crazy look in his eyes becoming more twisted. Opportunity. By the way, Yuchen, wait, I will prove myself soon, trample that guy under my feet, and expose his hypocrisy. In the luxurious palace of the Virgin Peak, Zhang Yuchen and Lu Chen had a great time as host and guest. After Zhang Yuchen healed some injuries, her eyebrows became more radiant and her movements became more ethereal. After drinking and eating, Lu Chen said goodbye to Zhang Yuchen and prepared to practice the extremely powerful Immortal Sutra. There is also the fairy spirit source energy absorbed from Zhang Yuchen's body, which also needs to be absorbed. When parting, Lu Chen said the next time he would absorb the power of the origin in a month. Both parties would need a certain amount of time to restore their origin. Zhang Yuchen said generously, in 1 month, Yuchen will be waiting for Mr. Lu Chen to come. Lu Chen nodded, and then left Saintess Peak. Lu Chen, who returned to Shengji Peak, first cleaned himself up under Yinger's service, and then entered the training spiritual land of Shengji Peak to practice. Although the spiritual land of Shengji Peak is not as good as that of Saintis Peak, it is still rich in spiritual power and is of great benefit to practice. Entering the spiritual land, Lu Chen first began to comprehend the Immortal Sutra. To others, this immortal Dao grade technique may be like a wordless heavenly book, which is difficult to understand at all. However, Lu Chen has heaven-defying comprehension and can fully comprehend this immortal Dao grade technique. Time passed slowly, and soon, 3 hours passed. Lu Chen had initially successfully comprehended the Immortal Sutra, and his mind was filled with obscure and mysterious information. Next, I will switch to practicing Kung Fu. I hope this Immortal Sutra will not disappoint me. After completing his enlightenment, Lu Chen murmured in a low voice, with golden light surging in his eyes. Immortal Sutra is the technique of immortal Dao grade. It is extremely powerful. It is many levels stronger than Lu Chen's 9 Yuan star technique. The two techniques are not at the same level at all. After everything was ready, Lu Chen ran the Immortal Sutra that he had just successfully comprehended, and slowly transformed the spiritual power of his 9 Yuan star Ju into the Immortal Sutra. The purple spiritual power that contains the power of the stars slowly transforms into golden immortal spiritual power under the circulation of the Immortal Sutra. These immortal spiritual powers are exactly the spiritual powers of the Immortal Sutra. They are extremely powerful, contain immortal attributes, and are extremely domineering and powerful. With the emergence of immortal spiritual power, Lu Chen's body seemed to be undergoing a huge transformation. His flesh, and meridians were all transforming towards unknown realms. As expected of the immortal Dao grade technique, it can perfectly transform my spiritual power, and it is also slowly transforming my body. After the spiritual power began to slowly transform, Lu Chen's eyes were full of joy. Originally, Lu Chen was worried that after the transformation of his spiritual power, he would lose a lot and reduce his cultivation level. However, this Immortal Sutra is extremely domineering and perfectly transforms one's spiritual power without any waste. Moreover, this Immortal Sutra is not only a top-level cultivation technique, but also has the function of tempering the body. While practicing, it makes one's body become stronger. Let Lu Chen, who already has a star body and supreme bone, transform his body into a more terrifying realm. There is also the source of fairy spirit. You can also absorb Zhang Yuchen's source of fairy spirit. As the spiritual power slowly transformed, Lu Chen then began to slowly absorb the 10 strands of fairy spirit source energy in his dantian. The source energy of the immortal spirit is the original energy of the immortal spirit body, which can be used to create the ultimate divine object of the holy immortal soul. Under Lu Chen's absorption, Lu Chen's soul also slowly grew stronger. The mysterious and ethereal soul seemed to be slowly giving off a golden divine luster. 7 days later, Lu Chen's spiritual power was completely transformed into golden immortal spiritual power. There are countless golden spiritual powers in the body that are constantly surging. All the 9 paths of creation spiritual veins also turned into gold, and the surging spiritual power exuded extremely fierce energy. There are also traces of golden aura floating around Chen Lu's body. The golden aura that keeps drifting makes Lu Chen seem to have transformed into an ancient beast, giving people an endless sense of oppression. The 10 strands of fairy spirit origin energy were also completely absorbed by Lu Chen. A small part of the soul power has transformed into the holy immortal soul. Although it is only a small part, the power contained is also very amazing. This has greatly improved Lu Chen's spiritual power, which was only at the Zan level. He has reached the peak of the heaven level and is only one step away from breaking through to become a spiritual saint. The levels of spiritual power are divided into yellow level, Zan level, earth level, heaven level, holy king level, great saint level, quasi-emperor level, supreme level, great emperor level. Each level is divided into for the early stage, middle stage, late stage, and peak. Next, we can gather the Dao Palace. Lu Chen did not feel the majestic strength and spiritual power in his body, but concentrated on looking at the 9 paths of creation spiritual veins in his dantian. After these 7 days of spiritual transformation, Lu Chen's foundation has also become stronger because of the Immortal Sutra, and his foundation is so profound that he can impact the Dao Palace realm. Boom. Then, Lu Chen began to attack the Dao Palace realm. With the operation of Lu Chen's skills, the spiritual veins of creation in Lu Chen's body are rapidly growing, and countless golden spiritual powers are intertwined and flowing. A few hours later, the creation spiritual vein exuding golden spiritual power turned into a golden Taoist palace. The golden Dao palace floated above Lu Chen's dantian, like an ancient golden palace, containing a mysterious atmosphere of vicissitudes of life. The golden spiritual power exuded was like a galaxy that suppressed the heaven and earth, extremely bright and mysterious. I have broken through, Dao Palace realm, the spiritual power at the peak of heaven level, coupled with the supreme bone star Dao body. Even if I am a saint in the saint realm, I can cross the border and defeat the enemy. After condensing the Dao Palace, Lu Chen slowly opened his eyes, with countless golden streams of light flowing in his eyes. Now, I finally have some ability to protect myself. The surging power in the body and the many methods gave Lu Chen a huge confidence and sense of security. After the breakthrough, Lu Chen did not continue to retreat, but left the spiritual land. Thanks to the Supreme Bone and Star Dao body, and Lu Chen also converted to the Immortal Sutra, his foundation and origin have become extremely powerful. Practicing blindly is not enough to make Lu Chen's cultivation level break through quickly. Only with many opportunities and a large number of precious spiritual objects can Lu Chen make a quick breakthrough. As for these opportunities and spiritual objects, Lu Chen, who has read the original work, naturally knows where they are. After leaving the spiritual land, Lu Chen first went to the spiritual spring to take a bath. Yinger had already been waiting for Lu Chen's arrival at Lingquan, and was cleaning Lu Chen's body thoughtfully. While Lu Chen was soaking in the spiritual spring, he asked, "Have the two brothers, Yi Bufan, done anything strange recently?" His Royal Highness the Holy Sun. When His Royal Highness the Holy Sun was at the Holy Maiden Peak, Yi Bufan and Yi Lingxi went to the Holy Maiden Peak, but they seemed to be kicked out by the people from the Holy Maiden Peak. After Yi Bufan left Saintis Peak, he has been practicing at Elder Qin Yuning's Zixia Peak and has never left. Yinger then said slowly, telling Lu Chen what happened. He was kicked out by the people from Saintis Peak and went to Zixia Peak to practice. Lu Chen raised his eyebrows. It seems that he is going to help Zhang Yuchen treat her injuries. The protagonist of Destiny is really difficult to deal with. Lu Chen had a lot of thoughts in his mind, and he soon understood. In the original work, Yi Bufan received help from Qin Yuning. After opening the shackles of the holy body, he obtained the inherited secret technique of the holy body, which can also solve Zhang Yuchen's Taoist injuries. However, because of his own interference, Qin Yuning's help was advanced, allowing Yi Bufan to obtain the inherited secret technique in advance. Fortunately, I got there first, otherwise, it would be really difficult for me to let him catch up with Zhang Yuchen. Lu Chen said in his heart. Your Highness, the disciples of the Absolute Beginning Holy Land will have a competition in 7 days. Do we need to recruit some outstanding seedlings in our Holy Sun Peak? After Yinger got up, her graceful figure leaned on Lu Chen's arms and said softly. The disciple competition is an annual competition held in the Absolute Beginning Holy Land. The disciples of the Absolute Beginning Holy Land can show their strength and talent in the disciple competition. As long as they have sufficient potential, they can be accepted as disciples of the main peaks by the elders of the major peaks. Both the inner disciples and the outer disciples are fringe members of the Absolute Beginning Holy Land. Only by becoming a disciple of the main peak can one enter the core of the Absolute Beginning Holy Land and receive deeper training. If you want to take control of the Absolute Beginning Holy Land and obtain more resources, becoming a disciple of the main peak is an essential step. As the Holy Son of the Absolute Beginning Holy Land, Lu Chen sits on the Holy Child Peak and is also qualified to recruit outstanding disciples of the main peak. However, Lu Chen didn't care about those things before and just focused on improving his cultivation. After all, his own talents are top-notch and he doesn't care about those. Disciple Dabi, you must go and see it. Lu Chen pondered for a moment, a strange light flashed in his eyes, and whispered. Yes, Your Highness the Holy Sun, then I will make arrangements right now. In Lu Chen's arms, Yinger quickly agreed. After saying that, he immediately went to arrange the things Lu Chen had told him. Yi Bufan, don't worry, I won't let you have any chance to turn over. Seeing Yinger fleeing, Lu Chen's mind was filled with thoughts, and his eyes became extremely firm. However, before that, I have to take away all the other opportunities that should belong to Yi Bufan in the absolute beginning Holy Land. Although Yi Bufan is now suppressed in all directions, Lu Chen will not miss any opportunity to suppress Yi Bufan before he can be completely eliminated. Immediately afterwards, Lu Chen left Lingquan and began to plunder Yi Bufan's opportunities in the absolute beginning Holy Land to improve his strength. In various places in the absolute beginning Holy Land, some hidden precious elixirs, secret techniques, spiritual objects of heaven and earth, and various hidden inheritances slowly fell into Lu Chen's hands. Lu Chen, who had received many opportunities, did not slack off and used these things to improve his own strength. Strange, there should be a 1,000-year-old elixir here, why isn't there? Absolute beginning Holy Land, in a lush mountain forest outside Zixia Peak, Yi Bufan frowned as he looked at the empty forest in front of him. Junior brother Yi, could it be that your induction is wrong? This place doesn't look like a place where elixirs can be born. Next to Yi Bufan, a young man wearing a white robe said in surprise. This young man is the main disciple of Zixia Peak, Lin Mo, and Qin Yuning's direct disciple. His talent and strength are astonishing, and he was sent by Qin Yuning to protect Yi Bufan. Lin Mo knew that Qin Yuning valued Yi Bufan, so even though Yi Bufan was only an inner disciple, Lin Mo did not dare to be disrespectful in any way. Although this place is lush with vegetation, it doesn't have much spiritual energy. It doesn't look like a place where a 1,000-year-old elixir was born. Yi Bufan did not speak, but slowly closed his eyes and activated the soul technique. Soul Heaven technique is the divine ability of soul power that Yi Bufan obtained in an ancient secret realm. It has a magical effect and can sense the surrounding spiritual resources. Yi Bufan relied on this to obtain many hidden resources and spiritual objects, which greatly improved his strength. With the activation of Soul Heaven technique, Yi Bufan's perception is rapidly improving, and he can clearly sense the surrounding inspiration. It's strange, I clearly felt it a few days ago, why now? After a while, Yi Bufan slowly opened his eyes and murmured in his heart. After breaking through the realm a few days ago, Yi Bufan used Soul Heaven technique to explore the surrounding spiritual resources and discovered the 1,000-year-old elixir outside Zixia Peak. Maybe I sensed it wrong. Let's go to another place and check it out. For a moment, Yi Bufan suppressed his thoughts and said calmly. It's just a 1,000-year elixir, and Yi Bufan didn't pay too much attention to it. After he broke through to the peak of the life and death realm, his soul power improved a lot, and he sensed more spiritual objects, including this 1,000-year-old elixir. Lin Mo nodded, and then led Yi Bufan towards other places. There is no next area. There is no next area. Still not next area. What's going on? Could it be that the soul heavenly technique has failed? There are no spiritual objects at all. After a few hours, after walking through more than a dozen areas and finding nothing, Yi Bufan finally broke through and his face became extremely ugly. It would be fine if only 1 or 2 areas were missing. However, more than a dozen areas were all empty, which was completely unacceptable to Yi Bufan. Lin Mo on the side did not speak, but his heart was filled with contempt. The places Yi Bufan brought him to were all extremely remote places without much spiritual energy. It would be strange for such places to have spiritual beings. Originally, Lin Mo thought Yi Bufan was really capable of something, but now it seems that he is completely a fool. Junior brother Yi, let's go back to Zixia Peak to practice. Master has prepared a lot of spiritual resources, which are completely enough for your practice. Seeing that Yi Bufan couldn't let go of his feelings for a long time, Lin Mo still spoke out. Yi Bufan said angrily, his face extremely cold, no, I must rely on my own abilities. How can I rely on Elder Qin so much? Lin Mo suppressed the nausea in his heart and said slowly, of course I know that junior brother Yi is a genius and is the ancient holy body that broke the shackles of heaven and earth. However, the time for the disciple competition is running out and we have wasted too much time. I'm just afraid of junior brother Yi's cultivation. As soon as Lin Mo's words came out, Yi Bufan's face looked uncertain, as if he was weighing something. After a while, Yi Bufan also figured it out, and then said slowly, well, you are right, the disciple competition is not long ago. I can't waste time. In this case, I can only borrow Elder Qin's training first resources. After saying that, Yi Bufan did not go to the next area, but returned to Zixia Peak to borrow the resources given by Elder Qin to practice and improve his strength. That bullshit divine ability of ancient souls is not reliable at all. It's really unlucky to waste so much of my time. If I believe in this divine ability in the future, I will be a dog. Yi Bufan cursed in his heart as he walked towards Zixia Peak. Not long after, Yi Bufan returned to Zixia Peak and honestly used Qin Yuning's resources and spiritual objects to improve his strength. With the help of Qin Yuning's resources and spiritual objects, Yi Bufan's strength is also slowly improving. Lu Chen naturally didn't know that Yi Bufan had doubts about his divine ability because of his own reasons. At this time, he is trying his best to absorb many spiritual resources and improve his cultivation. After plundering the resources and spiritual objects that originally belonged to Yi Bufan, Lu Chen returned to St. Child Peak to practice. After several days of practice, combined with many spiritual resources, Lu Chen had condensed 3 Taoist palaces, and the 4th Taoist palace had already appeared as a shadow and was slowly condensing. It's still a little short of that. The foundation is too strong. A stronger method is needed to gather the 4th Tao palace. Lu Chen slowly opened his eyes, and his body was filled with a majestic aura. Lu Chen has practiced the Immortal Sutra, and has a powerful and invincible physique such as the Star Tao body and Supreme Bone. His background has reached a limit, and the difficulty of practicing breakthroughs is many times that of ordinary monks. Then, Lu Chen took out a spiritual elixir that exuded rich spiritual energy and had 6 patterns on it. This is the 6 Marks Holy Spirit Pill, which is the top cultivation elixir that can help saints and strong men improve their strength. It is also one of the opportunities that should have belonged to Yi Bufan. Gulu. Lu Chen swallowed the 6-marked Holy Spirit Pill without hesitation. Whoosh whoosh. After swallowing the 6 Marks Holy Spirit Pill, countless majestic spiritual powers surged in Lu Chen's body. With the help of the surging Holy Spirit Pill, Lu Chen's 4th Tao Palace quickly condensed. The 4th Tao Palace that was originally just a shadow suddenly condensed into a golden Tao Palace. The 4th layer of Tao Palace is complete. Lu Chen slowly opened his eyes full of joy. In Lu Chen's Dantian, 4 golden Taoist palaces bloomed with terrifying auras. The mysterious and ancient aura was intimidating, and Lu Chen's temperament became even deeper. It seems that the correct way to practice is to plunder a large number of resources and spiritual objects. Lu Chen practiced the Immortal Sutra, and was blessed by the Supreme Bone and the Star Tao body. The foundation is so powerful that it has reached an incredible level, and there is no need to worry about realm bottlenecks. As long as there are enough resources and spiritual objects, you can break through quickly without being restricted by realm bottlenecks. In Lu Chen's body, the spiritual power belonging to the 6 Marks Holy Spirit Pill was still raging, slowly improving Lu Chen's cultivation. However, condensing the 4th palace has consumed most of the spiritual power of the Holy Spirit Pill. Although the remaining spiritual power is extremely surging, it cannot make Lu Chen's cultivation further and make another breakthrough. Not only has the cultivation level broken through the 4th layer of the Tao Palace, the ancient void ring has also been completely refined and controlled, and it is ready for use. Lu Chen rubbed the mysterious and primitive ring on his middle finger. This ancient ring of the void is a ring belonging to the great emperor of the void. It contains extremely powerful power of the void and has many mysteries. It is not easy to have complete control over refining. Even though Lu Chen had many methods and background, it still took a lot of time. Lu Chen then used his spiritual power to activate the ancient void ring in his hand, slowly becoming familiar with the power of the ancient void ring. Calculating the time, the disciple competition should have almost started, and it's time to leave. 2 hours later, Lu Chen was almost familiar with the power of the void ancient ring, so he stopped practicing and left the spiritual land of cultivation. His Royal Highness the Holy Sun, you are finally out of seclusion. Tomorrow is the disciple competition. After leaving the spiritual land of cultivation, the charming and slim Yinger came to Lu Chen's side and said slowly. Lu Chen nodded, and then asked about Yi Bufan's current situation. Yinger told Lu Chen that Yi Bufan searched for treasures in the absolute beginning Holy Land but failed, and then went to Zixia Peak to practice. Are you ready with everything I asked you to prepare? After learning about Yi Bufan's current situation, Lu Chen asked next. Yinger nodded and said in a soft voice, "It's ready." In that case, let's take a shower and rest for the night, and then go to the disciple competition tomorrow. Lu Chen then said slowly. The next day. Absolute Beginning Holy Land, Falling Star Hall. The Falling Star Hall is a luxurious and grand hall in the Absolute Beginning Holy Land, located in the central area of the Absolute Beginning Holy Land. The majestic palace exudes the aura of ancient vicissitudes, and the many decorations and inspirations around it make this ancient palace feel a little more confused. In front of Luo Xing Hall is the huge Luo Xing Square. A large number of Absolute Beginning Holy Land disciples gathered in the square. Their eyes were eager and they were gearing up, waiting for the disciple competition to begin. Not only are many disciples of the Absolute Beginning Holy Land waiting, but also many elders of the main peaks of the Absolute Beginning Holy Land are gathered together on the high platform of Luo Xing Palace. The disciple competition is not only a stage for many disciples to show off their talents, but it is also an opportunity for major peaks to expand their power. Each major peak will take this opportunity to select outstanding disciples to enter their own peak in the disciple competition. Shengju Peak, Shengji Peak, Saintis Peak, Daneling Peak, Junling Peak, Zixia Peak, Shaoyao Peak, Mingyu Peak, Shuanggu Peak. In the Absolute Beginning Holy Land, there are a total of 49 main peaks, all of which belong to the core of the Absolute Beginning Holy Land and hold the authority of the Absolute Beginning Holy Land. The disciple competition is about to begin. The time has come to decide our fate. In this disciple competition, I must become a disciple of the main peak and enter the core of the Absolute Beginning Holy Land. Come on, there are more than 50,000 disciples participating in this disciple competition. There are only 1,000 main peak disciples. In other words, you must be at least among the top 1,000 to qualify as a main peak disciple. You, a Zon level talent trash, tisk tisk, wake up, stop dreaming. Nah, I'm a waste, so what do you mean with a yellow level talent like yours? Quote. Idiot, do you think I'm the same as you? My uncle is an elder of Jingguang Peak. Even if I don't have any talent, I can still become a disciple of the main peak. GDX. As time went by, more and more elders from the main peak arrived, and the atmosphere in Luo Xing Square became more and more lively. Not long after, high in the sky of Falling Star Square, a middle-aged man with a majestic temperament wearing a dark robe slowly descended and stood in the center of the high platform of Falling Star Square. I've met the Holy Lord. I've met the Holy Lord. The many masters and elders of the main peaks on the high platform saluted respectfully, without any disrespect in their eyes. Li Daohong is the leader of the Absolute Beginning Holy Land. He has extremely strong strength and is one of the top experts standing in the eastern region of the Divine Desolate Realm. Li Daohong nodded and signaled many of the main peak elders to stand up. Now that all the disciples are here, let's start the disciple competition. After sitting down, Li Daohong continued to speak slowly, his voice was as loud as a bell. Yes, Holy Master. The peak master of Tianyan Peak next to him said respectfully. Swish, swish, swish. Then, the master of Tianyan Peak waved his right hand, and a scroll exuding black aura flew out from the master of Tianyan Peak. The scroll slowly unfolded towards the sky above Luo Xing Square, and soon turned into a picture that blocked the sky and the sun, and the black aura continued to surge. This disciple competition will be held in the Underworld 10,000 Beasts map. There are a large number of monster beasts in the Underworld 10,000 Beasts map. The one who survives to the last 1,000 in the Underworld 10,000 Beasts map can become a disciple of the main peak. Looking at the map of the Underworld's beasts in the sky, the peak master of Tianyan Peak said calmly. In the Underworld beast map, Elder Qin really did not lie to us. In this case, I am sure to be ranked first in the assessment. In the corner of Luo Xing Square, Yi Bufan, who was wearing a white robe, looked at the picture of the beasts of the underworld in the sky, his eyes full of confidence and disdain. Next to Yi Bufan, the pure and beautiful Yi Lingxi was also looking straight at the picture of the underworld's beasts in the sky. A few days ago, Qin Yuning told the two brothers and sisters Yi Bufan about the assessment content of the disciple competition. Lingxi, let's go, the assessment has begun. After a while, After the master of Tianyan Peak announced the start of the assessment, Yi Bufan said to Yi Lingxi beside him. Yi Lingxi nodded, and then she and Yi Bufan flew into the underworld's 10,000 beasts in the sky. Not only Yi Bufan and Yi Lingxi, but also all the other inner and outer disciples in Luo Xing Square entered the underworld beast map after the master of Tianyan Peak announced the start of the competition. The disciples who can join the absolute beginning Holy Land are all outstanding talents from various places in the eastern region of the divine desolate realm. Their self-confidence is not inferior to others, and they will definitely not let go of this opportunity to go further. Moreover, this time the disciple competition is about survival in the underworld 10,000 beasts map. To a certain extent, this rule weakened the importance of talent in the competition, allowing many disciples who originally had little confidence to regain their confidence and enter the competition. As many disciples filed in, a fierce battle soon broke out in the underworld beast map. The underworld beast map is the ancestral spiritual treasure of the absolute beginning Holy Land. It is equivalent to a huge secret realm with a large number of monsters. Tens of thousands of disciples of the absolute beginning Holy Land are like fish entering the sea, showing their strength in the 10,000 beasts map. On the high platform of Luo Xing Square, many peak masters and elders looked at the scene in the 10,000 beasts picture. In just a few breaths, many disciples with weak talents were defeated and sent away. Picture. Being sent out of the 10,000 beasts map means being eliminated in the disciple competition. The underworld 10,000 beasts map is still too much for these new disciples, they simply can't bear it. This kind of disciple competition is really exciting. The previous ones were too boring. Although many have been eliminated, there are still some good ones who can face many monsters besieging Halong with ease. Yes, the quality of this disciple competition is indeed much higher than before. Many elders from the main peak of the absolute beginning Holy Land looked at the scene in the 10,000 beasts map and spoke one after another, with strange lights shining in their eyes. The previous disciples had never used this method in the competition. This fierce battle in the 10,000 beasts map made many senior officials quite surprised. In the map of 10,000 beasts, many disciples show their divine ability and show off their talents in the map of 10,000 beasts. That ancient holy body is quite good. It has practiced the divine ability of thunder and fought with many monsters without falling behind at all. It is worthy of being an ancient holy body. It seems that the leader of this disciple competition is none other than Yi Bufan. His sister is also very powerful. She broke through to the life and death realm at a young age, and her methods are quite astonishing. Yes, both of them have the potential to become the true successors of our Holy Land. Soon, Yi Bufan, who used the divine ability of thunder to kill everyone, attracted the attention of many elders. The other disciples were all running away in confusion, either dealing with each other, or dealing with each other in groups. However, Yi Bufan stole the show by relying on his powerful ancient holy body and thunder attribute divine ability to fight many terrifying beasts alone. Although Yi Lingxi is not as strong as Yi Bufan, her body skills are extremely agile and her burst of spiritual power is extremely powerful. She also relies on her own strength to fight many monsters. HMPH, if you old guys tell me, that's the person I like. He's just the leader of the disciples, but he's just easy to catch. While many elders were talking about Yi Bufan, the charming Qin Yuning, wearing a red palace skirt, said calmly, her tone full of indifference and coldness. Many elders looked a little uncomfortable when they heard Qin Yuning's words, but due to Qin Yuning's identity, they didn't say much. What Elder Qin said is that Yi Bufan's potential and strength are indeed good, and he may be able to easily win the top spot in the disciple competition. However, this guy is a scum who deceives his master and destroys his ancestors. I think his character is still open to question. Quote. At this moment, a clear voice sounded in everyone's ears. Qin Yuning frowned slightly and looked towards the source of the sound, only to see a handsome young man with outstanding temperament slowly coming to the high platform. Lu Chen, what do you mean? Even if you are the holy son of our holy land, you cannot slander the genius of our holy land at will. Qin Yuning's eyes flashed with cold light, and she stared at Lu Chen who had arrived at the high platform. The other main peak elders around him didn't speak, they just looked at the scene in front of them silently. Lu Chen said calmly, slander. Elder Qin, this holy son is not a person who speaks freely. Just look at this jade slip and you will know. By the way, Holy Master, all the elders can also take a look at me. That's right. After speaking, Lu Chen took out jade slips one after another and distributed them to many elders on the high platform. Qin Yuning's eyes were cold as he took the jade slip and examined it. The Holy Lord and many elders from the main peak also checked the contents of the jade slips. What? Yi Bufan actually killed his master and seized the origin of the saint to practice. I didn't expect that this Yi Bufan would be this kind of person. It's really ridiculous that this kind of person could become a disciple of our absolute beginning Holy Land. Such a person is not worthy of entering our absolute beginning Holy Land. He must be expelled. After a while, there was a sound of surprise on the high platform, and the faces of many senior elders became a little gloomy. It turns out that this jade slip recorded some information about Yi Bufan before he worshipped in the absolute beginning Holy Land. Before Yi Bufan entered the Holy Land of absolute beginning, he had already worshipped a saint as his teacher. Not long ago, he killed his master and seized his master's saint origin to improve his strength. This jade slip briefly records information about this matter. You are just trying to slander Yi Bufan with a piece of information that you don't know whether it is true or false. Lu Chen, I know you are jealous of Yi Bufan's talent, but this method is too inferior. No one with any brains will believe it. It's about what's in this jade slip. Qin Yuning sneered, and a terrifying spiritual light erupted, completely shattering the jade slip in his hand and turning it into countless pieces. Lu Chen shook his head slightly, looked calmly at Qin Yuning in front of him, and said calmly, "This is the information from Tianji Pavilion. Even if Elder Qin doesn't believe me, he should believe in Tianji Pavilion's reputation. Yes, this jade slip has the mark of Tianji Pavilion on it. It is the information of Tianji Pavilion. It should not be wrong. Tianji Pavilion is the largest intelligence organization in the Divine Desolate Realm. It has been standing in our Divine Desolate Realm for hundreds of thousands of years. Its credibility and reputation are completely worthy of trust. If this is true, then we should carefully consider Yi Bufan's character." After Lu Chen finished speaking, the surrounding peak masters and elders also discovered that there was a mark belonging to Tianji Pavilion on the jade slip, and they all spoke. Tianji Pavilion specializes in intelligence and has a very good reputation in the divine world. Qin Yuning's expression was gloomy, and then she snatched the jade slip from the hand of an elder next to her and examined the mark on the jade slip. After confirming the authenticity of the mark on the jade slip, Qin Yuning's face became even more ugly. After a moment, Qin Yuning gritted her teeth and snorted coldly, "Humph, maybe there is another hidden meaning behind the matter. Although Yi Bufan is a little arrogant, he is definitely not the kind of person who bullies his master and destroys his ancestors." After Qin Yuning finished speaking, he looked at absolute beginning Holy Master Li Daohong in the center of the high platform. Li Daohong pondered for a moment, then said calmly, "The matter of Yi Bufan killing his master and seizing his origin is too important. It needs to be discussed again. After the disciple competition is over, I will have someone investigate it in detail." After hearing this, Qin Yuning's expression softened a little, and he regained his proud demeanor. That is, the matter still needs to be discussed. Just because Tianji Pavilion has not made any mistakes does not mean that he will not make mistakes. Lu Chen was speechless when he saw that he couldn't expel Yi Bufan even with all these things. As expected of the destined protagonist, he deceives his master to destroy his ancestors, kills his master to seize his origin, and has the reputation of Tianji Pavilion as an endorsement, so it is almost certain. If this kind of thing happens to anyone, he will be nailed to death, and there will be no chance of turning around. However, despite this, Absolute Beginning Holy Master and Qin Yuning are still willing to give Yi Bufan a chance. However, Lu Chen didn't pay too much attention, and he didn't intend to use this piece of information to completely solve Yi Bufan. As long as it can plant the seeds of Yi Bufan's poor character in the hearts of many senior officials of the Absolute Beginning Holy Land. Lu Chen then said meaningfully, "I don't know if there is a hidden secret, but Yi Bufan finally took away his master's original practice of sainthood. Such a person, no matter how talented he is, tisk tisk, if in the future another one to deceive the master and destroy the ancestor. Elders, please be careful." After Lu Chen finished speaking, the faces of many senior elders present changed slightly, and their eyes sparkled. Qin Yuning sneered, her eyes full of cold light. Oh, I won't bother the Holy Sun to worry about this, Yi Bufan will naturally be taught by me personally. That couldn't be better. Lu Chen shrugged and said nonchalantly, then ignored the matter and went to the side of the high platform to wait. The disciple competition is still going on in the 10,000 Beasts map, and more disciples are being eliminated and expelled from the 10,000 Beasts map. Yi Bufan's performance is still brave, killing everyone in the world of beasts, looking invincible. However, many senior elders in Luoxing Square no longer want to pay attention to Yi Bufan. Such a person who deceives his master and destroys his ancestors, no matter how talented he is, they would not dare to take him under their sect and become a disciple of the main peak. Qin Yuning noticed the subtle changes in the atmosphere on the high platform, and her heart was full of anger. She naturally didn't want Yi Bufan's situation in the absolute beginning Holy Land to become like this. After all, Yi Bufan is not yet full-fledged and needs to practice in the absolute beginning Holy Land. If his reputation is ruined, it will have a great impact on his practice. It's all this Lu Chen's fault. Qin Yuning then looked at Lu Chen not far away, with a faint glint in his eyes. Lu Chen naturally noticed Qin Yuning's gaze, but Lu Chen didn't care. He was the holy son of the absolute beginning Holy Land, and Qin Yuning would never dare to deal with him blatantly. Moreover, he now has enough trump cards. Even if Qin Yuning really wants to pull some tricks, Lu Chen will have a way to deal with it. Time passed slowly, and the competition between the disciples of 10,000 Beasts was still continuing. As time went on, more and more disciples were eliminated. After a few hours, there were already thousands of disciples left in the 10,000 Beasts map. The remaining disciples are all the elite among the disciples of the absolute beginning Holy Land. Their strength and talents are all top-notch, and they can cope with the impact of many monsters in the 10,000 Beasts map. In the map of 10,000 Beasts, there is a deserted valley. Yi Bufan, who was wearing a white robe, was shining with lightning, and there were strands of golden light flowing around, exuding an extremely terrifying aura. The ancient holy body is already the top super holy body, and Yi Bufan has been prepared for it and has practiced the divine ability of thunder. The combination of the two makes Yi Bufan seem to be transformed into a thundering god of war, with extremely terrifying fighting power. A large number of ferocious beasts around were easily slaughtered by its violent power, and countless pieces of blood and flesh were splashed everywhere. The entire valley was like a Shira field, filled with the aura of destruction and death. Other disciples saw it from a distance, and all of them felt their scalps numb and their bodies constantly shaking. You trash, what are you looking at? Get out of here. After Yi Bufan slaughtered many ferocious beasts around him, he spotted some fellow disciples watching from a distance, and immediately said coldly, with an extremely unkind tone. When many disciples in the distance heard this, their expressions became extremely ugly, and they wanted to retort harshly. However, after seeing Yi Bufan's powerful fighting power, no one dared to speak and left the valley silently. Trash is just trash. If you don't even dare to resist, these guys will be like this for the rest of their lives. Seeing many of his classmates leaving, Yi Bufan shook his head and said, his face full of sarcasm. Why does Elder Qin want me to kill more monsters in the 10,000 Beasts map? These monsters have absolutely no value. After the valley became empty, Yi Bufan fell into deep thought. Qin Yuning not only told Yi Bufan the content of the disciple competition, but also asked Yi Bufan and his two brothers to kill as many ferocious beasts as possible in the 10,000 Beasts map. Forget it, forget about the things you can't figure out. Then kill as many ferocious beasts as possible. It's also good to hone your martial arts divine ability. Yi Bufan pondered to no avail, suppressed his thoughts, jumped into the distance, and continued to hunt the many ferocious beasts around him. The disciple competition is in full swing, and the remaining disciples are all elites. They have also adapted to the environment in the 10,000 Beasts map and are fighting against the ferocious beasts in the 10,000 Beasts map. However, as many disciples eliminated the ferocious beasts in the Underworld Beast map, they became more powerful and their numbers continued to grow. The powerful ferocious beasts and their overwhelming numbers made more and more disciples unable to hold on any longer, and the remaining disciples were quickly eliminated. It's almost over, there are still a dozen disciples still holding on. On the high platform of Luoxing Square, Master Tianyan looked at the scene in the 10,000 Beasts picture and said slowly. The remaining disciples are all extremely powerful geniuses. Their strength has all reached the life and death realm, and they have also mastered powerful secret techniques. Although they are not as invincible as Yi Bufan, they can still withstand the tide. Impact. Hey, what a rare visitor. I didn't expect that the saint who always ignores worldly affairs would come to watch the disciple competition. Just as everyone was watching the battle in the picture of 10,000 beasts, Qin Yuning's cold voice sounded from the high platform. Not far away, Zhang Yuchen, who was wearing a white fairy dress, noble, bright, and stunningly beautiful, came to the high platform with fluttering clothes. The disciple competition is a grand event in our absolute beginning Holy Land. Naturally, I want to come and take a look. Does Elder Qin have any opinions? Zhang Yuchen didn't even raise her eyelids, not caring about Qin Yuning's coldness. Hearing this, Zhang Yuchen narrowed her eyes slightly and looked straight at the beautiful Qin Yuning, with a cold light shining in her eyes. Not to be outdone, Qin Yuning looked at Zhang Yuchen. The atmosphere on the high platform became a little solemn at this moment. Many of the surrounding absolute beginning Holy Land executives did not speak, but watched the two women's fight with interest. The Qin family and the Zhang family are both the Emperor clan, the behemoth of the Central Territory. The two sides have been fighting openly and secretly for many years in the Central Territory, and they are on the same page. Therefore, even though Qin Yuning and Zhang Yuchen both belong to the absolute beginning Holy Land, they still cannot deal with each other. This is not the first time that the two sides have faced off like this in the Holy Land of absolute beginning. In fact, it is not uncommon for the two sides to fight. Ahem, today is our disciple competition at the absolute beginning Holy Land. Junior sister Qin and Yuchen, please give me some respect and don't fight here. Seeing that the atmosphere on the high platform was becoming more solemn, Li Daohong, the holy master of absolute beginning not far away, finally couldn't help it anymore and coughed quickly. Seeing the Holy Lord being so humble, the surrounding Holy Land senior officials twitched their lips slightly and silently looked in other directions, pretending not to hear. This Holy Lord is too hopeless. Lu Chen's heart froze. The holy masters of other families always stick to their word, and no one dares to be presumptuous in front of them. My own holy master can't even control his own elders and saints, which is really a bit frustrating. Lu Chen could also understand. After all, both of them were members of the Emperor clan, the giant in the central region. Although Li Daohong was the pinnacle of the eastern region, he was still a little underwhelmed when faced with such behemoths. Therefore, even if Li Daohong is the master of the absolute beginning Holy Land, he does not dare to be too harsh when facing Qin Yuning and Zhang Yuchen. However, Lu Chen knew that this Li Daohong was not simple. Although he looks extremely humble now, he is also an old and sinister person. He is submissive on the surface, but secretly strikes hard and has done many old-fashioned things. HMPH, for the sake of my senior brother, I won't argue with you, a girl. Qin Yuning snorted coldly, then withdrew the spiritual power that was about to explode and returned to the side of the high platform. Zhang Yuchen took a deep look at Qin Yuning, said nothing, and walked towards Lu Chen. Master Lu, I haven't seen you for a long time, but you still look like you. After a while, Zhang Yuchen came to the front of Lu Chen and looked at Lu Chen with some resentment. Huh. Looking at Zhang Yuchen who was a bit resentful, Lu Chen was slightly stunned. What is going on? This girl's eyes are not right, what happened? His Royal Highness the Holy Sun, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you that while you were in seclusion, Miss Yuchen twice sent people to invite His Highness the Holy Sun to come to discuss Taoism. I helped His Highness the Holy Sun refuse on the grounds of seclusion. At this time, Lu Chen's voice came from Yinger's mind. It turns out that this is the case, Chase Lu knew clearly in his heart. After knowing the key to the matter, Lu Chen said slowly, Miss Yuchen, I have gained something from my retreat in the past few days. After the disciple competition is over, I will discuss the Tao with you. Zhang Yuchen smiled lightly, showing a beautiful smile, then it settled. Then, the two of them said nothing more, but looked at the disciple Dabi in the picture of beasts in the sky. As the ferocious beasts in the 10,000 beasts map became more powerful, more disciples were eliminated, and now there are only 3 people left in the 10,000 beasts map. In addition to Yi Bufan and Yi Lingxi, in a mountain forest in the 10,000 beasts map, There was also a girl with twin ponytails and a light purple fairy skirt, who looked extremely pure. The girl is petite, but the curvature in front is already quite large, and combined with her innocent face, she has a unique flavor. It is worth mentioning that the girl's hair is silver white and there is a mysterious white mark on her forehead. The extremely majestic power of the ice spirit circulates around her, and large ferocious beasts are unable to approach the girl under the majestic power of the ice spirit. Those are people from the ice spirit tribe. There are people from the ice spirit tribe who have joined our absolute beginning Holy Land. A senior elder of the Holy Land recognized the girl's identity and couldn't help but exclaimed. The majestic and pure power of the ice spirit and the white mark between the eyebrows are obviously the symbols of the ice spirit tribe. The ice spirit tribe is the top force in the divine desolate realm. It has been standing in the divine desolate realm for hundreds of thousands of years. It has extremely strong strength and is one of the giant forces in the divine desolate realm. Many high-level officials in the Holy Land were attracted by the ice spirit tribe girl. Holy Lord, those people from the ice spirit tribe. The peak master of Tianyan Peak frowned slightly and looked at Li Daohong. The ice spirit tribe is the top giant force in the divine realm. Their people have never joined the human race. Now that this ice spirit tribe girl has appeared in their sect, it is really a blessing or a misfortune. Li Daohong's eyes flickered with a faint light, and he said calmly, "It doesn't matter, since she has entered our Holy Land, she is a member of our absolute beginning Holy Land, so just treat her as a normal disciple." After hearing Li Daohong's words, many senior elders of the surrounding Holy Land did not say anything more. Since the Holy Lord is so confident, they will naturally have no fear. Zhang Yuchen and Lu Chen also looked at the ice spirit tribe girl in the 10,000 Beasts picture. That girl is indeed eye-catching. She doesn't look very young, but her fighting style is extremely violent. She carries a pair of terrifying sledgehammers and relies on the powerful power and strength of the ice spirit to slam the surrounding ferocious beasts. The terrifying destructive power is not inferior to Yi Bufan, who has the ancient holy body. The ferocious beasts in the 10,000 Beasts chart are going berserk again, and it should be over soon. Zhang Yuchen looked at the scene in the 10,000 Beasts picture and said with surprise. Lu Chen nodded. At this time, the 10,000 Beasts map became more terrifying once again. Yi Lingxi could no longer hold on and was about to be defeated by the terrifying beast tide. What happened was not as expected by the two of them. After the impact in the 10,000 Beasts map became more violent, Yi Lingxi couldn't hold on for half a quarter of an hour and was teleported out of the 10,000 Beasts map. Then there was the girl from the ice spirit tribe. After persisting for a quarter of an hour longer than Yi Lingxi, she was also reported. In the end, only Yi Bufan was left. After holding on for another 2/4 of an hour, he exhausted his last trace of spiritual power and transmitted the 10,000 Beasts map. This disciple competition is over. This is the ranking list of this competition. The top 1,000 can become the main peak disciples of our Holy Land. After the disciple competition ended, the peak master of Tianyan Peak waved his right hand, and a spiritual light appeared in the sky. The spiritual light revealed the ranking list of the disciple competition. First place, Yi Bufan. Second place, Chu Bingyan. Third place, Yi Lingxi. 1,000th place, Wei Tonggulan. The 10,000th place, Yan Yuji. It's almost 1,001. If I just hold on for one more breath, I can enter the top 1,000 with just one breath. Tisk, 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 you deserve it. When you usually practice, you are always almost the same, almost, but at the critical moment, you are just a little bit closer. What's the use of being almost now, waste? Brother, you sound so crazy, where do you rank? I'm not talented, so the one with 10,100 is me. Idiot, if you teach more than 1,000 people how to do things with more than 10,000 people. And percent and percent hash hash. Ha ha ha, if I enter the top 10, I can get a reward. Sure enough, although that Yi Bufan has an arrogant and domineering tone, his strength is really not bad. This guy really got the first place. After the list was revealed, many disciples commented one after another, and for a while, all living beings in Luo Xing Square looked different. Those who entered the top 1,000 were extremely excited, while those who had no chance to become the disciples of the main peak were mostly dejected. There were also many people who gathered their strength and prepared to practice hard and strive to perform well in next year's disciple competition. Soon, elders from the major peaks came to contact the disciples who had entered the top 1,000 and recruited them into their own peaks. The first place in a mere competition, you can win it. Yi Bufan from Luo Xing Plaza saw his own name ranked first on the list, and his face was full of pride. Brother is so awesome. Next to Yi Bufan, Yi Lingxi raised her pink fist and smiled. However, why do the elders of the major peaks completely ignore me and have no interest in me? I am the first in the competition. At this time, Yi Bufan seemed to notice something, and his expression changed slightly. After the competition in the 10,000 Beasts map, the elders of the main peaks of the absolute beginning Holy Land began to select the disciples who would enter their main peaks, and the entire Luo Xing square suddenly became more lively. Especially for the top 10 top geniuses, many elders and even peak masters came to compete. There are many main peaks competing tit for tat for outstanding disciples, and they are red-faced. However, no one came to look for Yi Bufan. Yi Bufan even felt that these high-level officials of the Holy Land seemed to be deliberately avoiding and ignoring him, passing by him without paying any attention. Their eyes also looked a little strange, as if they were looking at something disgusting. Yi Bufan felt something was wrong in his heart. Could it be that something else had happened? Yi Lingxi on the side also felt something was wrong, but she didn't know what happened. No one is looking for the second-ranked guy. Yi Bufan then looked at the stunning girl with twin ponytails who was also ignored in Luo Xing Square. In the map of 10,000 beasts, he also discovered this powerful and outrageous girl, and also learned her name, Chu Bingyan. This girl, who looks several years younger than herself, is not at all inferior to her in strength. Lingxi, Bufan, are you willing to worship me as your teacher and join Zixia Peak? At this time, a cold and soft voice came into Yi Bufan's ears. Wearing a red palace dress, the charming Qin Yuning came to Yi Bufan's side and looked at Yi Bufan with soft eyes. Above the main peak disciples, there are also true disciples, who are direct disciples of the major main peak elders, and enjoy more abundant resources than ordinary main peak disciples. However, the elders of the main peak have stricter requirements for true disciples and require more inspections before accepting them as true disciples. Qin Yuning knew Yi Bufan and Yi Lingxi well, so naturally she didn't have to wait so long. Disciple pays homage to master. After hearing Qin Yuning's invitation, Yi Lingxi and Yi Bufan bowed their heads and said respectfully. Zixia Peak is a powerful main peak, and Qin Yuning also takes good care of them, so they naturally agreed without hesitation. Seeing that both of them agreed, Qin Yuning also showed a happy smile, looked at the two of them happily and said, okay, you will be my true disciples from now on. No one in the absolute beginning Holy Land dares to bully you. Then, Qin Yuning gave away some top-notch treasures as an apprenticeship ceremony, and the two of them happily accepted them. Thank you master for the gift. I performed so well in the disciple competition. Why do those elders seem to hate me? After Yi Bufan accepted the treasure, he then asked his doubts. He knew that he might be a little arrogant, but with his outstanding talents and invincible ancient holy body, he could completely ignore those small flaws in his character. It's that guy Lu Chen. He said that before you joined the absolute beginning Holy Land. Qin Yuning said slowly, telling Yi Bufan about the information jade slip given by Lu Chen. After hearing Qin Yuning's words, Yi Bufan's face instantly became extremely ugly, his body trembled slightly, and thin sweat continued to break out on his forehead. Lu Chen. Yi Bufan gritted his teeth, his eyes filled with monstrous anger. Is that true? Qin Yuning then looked straight at Yi Bufan in front of him. Although she didn't care, she still wanted to ask Yi Bufan face to face since she had accepted Yi Bufan as her apprentice. Master, I did take away the saint's original practice from my previous master, but... In front of Qin Yuning, Yi Bufan had no courage to hide anything and said with some fear. Okay, I understand, we'll talk about this later. Before Yi Bufan finished speaking, Qin Yuning interrupted Yi Bufan. Master, Yi Bufan still wanted to explain. Bufan, those things are actually not important. This world follows the law of the weak and the strong. In the end, the one with the big fist has the final say. As long as you reach the extreme realm in the future, your past will naturally become brilliant. These trivial things, no one cares. Qin Yuning looked directly at Yi Bufan and said calmly. Yi Bufan took a deep breath, with light flowing in his eyes, and his expression became shining again. Yes, master, I understand. Yi Lingxi on the side clenched her fist unconsciously, feeling confused and even a little shaken. She didn't know that her brother had such a past. Yi Bufan seemed to have thought of something, and then asked, what about Chu Bingyan? Her strength is not inferior to mine, why no one cares about her? Qin Yuning looked disdainful and said lightly, she is from the Ice Spirit tribe. Those old guys don't have the guts to recruit people from the Ice Spirit tribe. It turns out that guy is from the Ice Spirit clan, no wonder he is so powerful. After hearing Qin Yuning's words, Yi Bufan understood. If it's someone from the Ice Spirit tribe, then. Suddenly, Yi Bufan seemed to have thought of something, and a fiery color flashed in his eyes. Master, others dare not accept the Chu Bingyan. I wonder if we at Zixia Peak can accept the Chu Bingyan. After thinking about it, Yi Bufan looked at Qin Yuning in front of him, his eyes full of expectation. Qin Yuning slowly raised his head and said calmly, of course, I am different from those wastes. Of course I dare to accept those who they dare not accept. Yi Bufan's eyes lit up and he said quickly, Master, let's take the Chu Bingyan into Zixia Peak as well. Qin Yuning pondered for a moment, then nodded and agreed to Yi Bufan, okay, since this is your first request, then I'll accept her. I'm also quite interested in that girl's movie. Then, several people slowly walked towards Chu Bingyan who was not far away. As soon as he approached Chu Bingyan, Yi Bufan revealed his purpose of coming. Miss Chu, I wonder if you are willing to join our Zixia Peak. Chu Bingyan's face was a little rosy, and she looked timidly at Yi Bufan and the others in front of her, her silver-white ponytails fluttering slightly in the breeze. Perhaps Feng Er was so noisy that she didn't seem to hear Yi Bufan's words clearly, and said softly, what did you say? Looking at the timid girl in front of him, Yi Bufan's heart froze. This little girl's speaking style and fighting style are completely inconsistent. It's such a contrast. When he was in the 10,000 Beasts picture, Yi Bufan also saw the fighting style of the girl. She was obviously a delicate and cute little Lolita with twin tails, but she wielded two sledgehammers and fought extremely violently, almost like a berserker. However, being timid in front of him and speaking so softly made Yi Bufan feel quite subtle, causing ripples in his heart. Now is not the time to think about this. Yi Bufan quickly suppressed his thoughts and continued, I want to invite you to join our Zixia Peak. Zixia Peak. Can I really join Zixia Peak? After hearing Yi Bufan's words clearly, Chu Bingyan's eyes lit up and she looked at Yi Bufan in front of her expectantly. The many disciples just now were selected by the elders of the major peaks, but they were not chosen by themselves. Although Chu Bingyan had no expression on her face, she was extremely anxious in her heart, fearing that she would not be able to become a disciple of the main peak. After all, she came to Absolute Beginning Holy Land just to enter the core of Absolute Beginning Holy Land. Qin Yuning on the side smiled slightly and said, of course, your talent and strength are so strong, you can definitely join our Zixia Peak. Seeing Qin Yuning also speaking, Chu Bingyan no longer had any worries in her heart, and said quickly, okay, I am willing. Wait a minute, Miss Chu, this Yi Bufan is a scum who deceives his teachers and destroys his ancestors. Are you sure you want to enter the same main peak as this scumbag? Why don't you join our Saint Child Peak? I think our Saint Child Peak is more suitable for you. Quote. At this moment, a clear voice interrupted Chu Bingyan's words. On the other side of Luoxing Square, Lu Chen, who was dressed in white robe and had an outstanding temperament, came in front of several people with a smile on his face. Seeing Lu Chen suddenly appear, Chu Bingyan's eyes lit up, and she was firmly attracted by Lu Chen's ethereal temperament and perfect appearance. Lu Chen, what do you mean, you want to compete with me at Zixia Peak? Do you think you are the holy son of our holy land, so you are uttering arrogant words in front of me? Before Yi Bufan could speak, Qin Yuning couldn't help it anymore and stared at Lu Chen with a penetrating light in his eyes. Lu Chen did not show any fear and said calmly, the main peak's recruitment of disciples is a two-way selection. Miss Chu has not agreed to join your Zixia Peak, so there is no talk of robbing people. Lu Chen sneered and continued, besides, what I said was wrong. Isn't Yi Bufan a murderer who deceived his master and destroyed his ancestors? There may be some hidden secrets in Yi Bufan's plot to seize the master's origin as a saint, but killing his master is killing his master. This is an indelible fact. The arc in front of Qin Yuning kept trembling, and he said coldly, Lu Chen, don't use forceful words. I am telling you about Chu Bingyan. If you continue to mess around, don't blame me for being rude. Yi Bufan on the side gritted his teeth and did not dare to speak. He just stared at Lu Chen with a fierce look in his eyes, as if he wanted to completely obliterate Lu Chen with his eyes. Elder Qin, if you threaten the holy son of our sect like this, do you think you don't take our sect's rules seriously? At this time, Zhang Yuchen, who was not far away, came to the front of Lu Chen and looked at Qin Yuning coldly. Fairy Yuchen, please listen to my explanation. Yi Bufan saw Zhang Yuchen's appearance, his face became flustered, and he said quickly. Yi Bufan didn't care about other people's opinions, but he cared about Zhang Yuchen and was very concerned about Zhang Yuchen's opinions. He didn't want to have any bad impression in Zhang Yuchen's mind. You don't have to explain to me, there is no relationship between us. Zhang Yuchen said lightly, not paying attention to Yi Bufan's words. When Yi Bufan heard this, his heart almost sank to the bottom, and the anger in his heart continued to grow. Yi Lingxi next to her felt very worried when she saw her brother's demeanor. However, when she thought about him killing his master and seizing his origin, she felt that her brother was a little strange, so that Yi Lingxi felt in a trance. Stinky girl, I usually give in to you, do you really think I'm afraid of you? Today I'm going to let you see how powerful I am. Seeing how strong Zhang Yuchen was, Qin Yuning couldn't bear it any longer. The inspiration in his body continued to surge, and a majestic power of a saint surged towards Zhang Yuchen's location. Zhang Yuchen also activated her saint's power, and her terrifying inspiration quickly collided with Qin Yuning's saint's power, creating a powerful impact. In an instant, a terrifying spiritual energy storm appeared in the Luoxing Square area. The spiritual energy storm swayed in all directions, creating a wave of spiritual pressure. As expected of a fairy spirit body, just a saint from the 5th layer heaven can confront the peak saint from the 9th layer heaven. Lu Chen looked at the two people confronting each other with a solemn look on his face, and he had a new understanding of Zhang Yuchen's power. After Zhang Yuchen was ingested some of the essence of the fairy spirit body last time, she had already reached the saint 5th layer from the 4th layer. And just after breaking through the saint 5th layer heaven, he was able to compete with Qin Yuning, the veteran saint at the top. This talent is really terrifying. Moreover, Zhang Yuchen's Dao injuries have not yet been completely cured. If they are all cured, her potential and foundation will definitely rise to another level. At that time, even the powerful Saint King in the royal realm can be defeated. That's enough, let's call it a day. Today is the disciple competition. What does it look like for an elder and a saint to fight here? Just when the two were about to unleash a more powerful impact, a deep voice sounded, and absolute beginning Holy Master Li Daohong slowly walked over. Along with the appearance of Li Daohong, there was also an incomparable inspiration. This spiritual power was so powerful that it was like a divine pillar that suppressed the heaven and earth, easily suppressing the power of saints of Qin Yuning and Zhang Yuchen. Luo Xing Square, which was about to be hit by a storm, suddenly became calm and calm. Brother, don't stop me this time. I have to teach this little girl a lesson. When Qin Yuning saw the person coming, his expression did not change at all, but he continued. I've said enough. Li Daohong's voice was like a bell, and the terrifying inspiration swayed around, quickly filling the entire square. Everyone around them felt an unspeakable sense of fear and oppression from their hearts, as if they had been suppressed by an ancient beast. How strong is this Li Daohong now? Looking at Li Daohong, who looked like a world-destroying demon, Lu Chen secretly guessed in his heart. In the original work, Li Daohong's strength has always been a mystery, and the original work did not clearly indicate Li Daohong's realm. Every time Li Daohong fought against those powerful enemies, he barely won with a very slight advantage. However, whether it is a king of the Holy Way, a peak sage who has entered the realm of the great sage, or even a strong man who has entered the quasi-emperor realm, Li Daohong can barely defeat him. In the later period, when all the races in the divine desolate realm came together, Li Daohong even managed to suppress an invincible supreme. His strength was simply outrageous. Qin Yuning was also stunned by this majestic inspiration and looked at the awe-inspiring Li Daohong blankly. She didn't expect that her senior brother, who usually had no airs and was calm, also had such a strong side. It was strange, so strange. Yes, senior brother. Thinking like this, Qin Yuning said unconsciously, not daring to make the same mistake again. Junior sister, there are so many people here, don't go too far. I am still the holy master of our holy land after all. Just as Qin Yuning finished speaking, Li Daohong's helpless voice came from his mind. Hearing this familiar voice, Qin Yuning's heart froze. Nothing has changed. The senior brother is still the senior brother, the same senior brother. However, I should give my senior brother more face. After all, he is the holy lord of our holy land. After Li Daohong appeared, the two sides did not continue to conflict, and everyone became honest. Even Yi Bufan, who was usually extremely arrogant, did not dare to speak and was as wilted as a frosted eggplant. Recruiting disciples is a choice for both parties. Miss Chu, you decide for yourself whether you want to join St. Child Peak or Zixia Peak. After settling Qin Yuning and Zhang Yuchen, Li Daohong then looked at the pale Chu Bingyandao not far away. Chu Bingyan suppressed the fear in her heart and nodded obediently, yes, thank you Holy Lord. After finishing speaking, Li Daohong did not stay any longer, but returned to the high platform and continued to preside over the overall situation. Luo Xing Square also became lively again. However, after Li Daohong showed his extremely terrifying strength just now, many disciples did not stop. Since senior brother has spoken, I won't bully you, so let Chu Bingyan choose who to join. After Li Daohong left, Qin Yuning looked at Lu Chendao calmly. Yi Bufan, who was behind Qin Yuning, also calmed down, took a deep breath and said, yes, let Miss Chu choose. Lu Chen nodded. Chu Bingyan was from the Ice Spirit clan. Lu Chen didn't have the strength to force her to do anything now. Not to mention now, even if he enters the supreme field in the future, Lu Chen will not dare to have too much ill will toward him. Because, Chu Bingyan is not an ordinary member of the Ice Spirit tribe, she is also one of the heroines of destiny, and her origin is astonishing, she is the reincarnation of the Ice Ancestor of the Ice Spirit tribe. Ice Ancestor is the ancestor of the Ice Spirit tribe, the pinnacle powerhouse in the ancient times, and one of the 8 ancient ancestors. In the ancient times, the human race was weak and was a very low-level race in the divine world. There were even many powerful races that fed on the human race. The human race at that time was extremely miserable. During that period, 8 powerful men at the pinnacle of the extreme realm were born, and they were called the 8 ancient ancestors. When human race was still weak, the ancient 8 ancestors used their own great power and strong belief to support human race's backbone, allowing human race to go through those extremely difficult years. Chu Bingyan's origin is so amazing. If Chu Bingyan hadn't mastered one of the biggest secrets in the divine world, Lu Chen wouldn't have wanted to have too much entanglement with him. More importantly, in the original work, Chu Bingyan's secret finally benefited Yi Bufan and helped Yi Bufan get incredible benefits. Now, Lu Chen will certainly not let such a thing happen. After deciding to let Chu Bingyan choose on her own, Qin Yuning continued slowly and said with great confidence, Miss Chu, as long as you join us at Zixia Peak, I can accept you as a true disciple and personally teach you how to practice. Absolute Beginning Holy Land has many secrets. With the Divine Ability Classics, you can practice at will. Qin Yuning seemed to be really serious, and then added, besides, I am a member of the Emperor clan Qin family in the central region, so there is no need to worry about training resources. When Chu Bingyan heard Qin Yuning's words, her eyes lit up, and there seemed to be a look of expectation on her innocent face. However, she seemed to have thought of something, put away the expectation on her face, and then looked at Lu Chen next to her. If you join our Saint Child Peak. Looking at Chu Bingyan in front of him, Lu Chen pondered for a moment and said, I can also accept you as a true disciple, and it's a joke. You, a little holy son, accept the genius of the Ice Spirit tribe as your disciple. What qualifications do you have? Before Lu Chen finished speaking, Qin Yuning couldn't help it and said coldly, with sarcasm in his eyes. From Qin Yuning's point of view, although Lu Chen has good talent and may have some strength, it is a big joke to want to accept Chu Bingyan as his disciple. Elder Qin, do you want to challenge the authority of the Holy Lord? Seeing that Qin Yuning was still provocative with words at this time, Zhang Yuchen said with cold eyes. Hearing this, Qin Yuning didn't speak anymore, but said calmly, I'm just telling the truth. With Lu Chen's strength, he accepted the genius of the Ice Spirit tribe as his disciple. Tisk tisk, I don't know where he got the courage. Yi Bufan on the side also had a look of disdain. He thought Lu Chen would offer some generous terms. However, he was only accepted as a true disciple. Chu Bingyan was the top genius of the Ice Spirit tribe who was no less powerful than herself. How could she take Lu Chen, who was just a saint's son, as her disciple? What kind of conditions are these? They are simply trying to undermine Chu Bingyan. Yi Bufan doesn't think Chu Bingyan will agree. And, I can teach you this secret technique. Lu Chen ignored Qin Yuning's sarcasm and continued to talk to Chu Bingyan next to him. As Lu Chen said, he gently tapped the white mark between Chu Bingyan's eyebrows with his fingertips, and then, a soft spiritual light surged towards Chu Bingyan. This is. Sensing the information contained in the aura, Chu Bingyan's eyes widened, and her pure face was filled with shock. Yi Bufan and others next to him looked at Chu Bingyan whose expression had changed. Their hearts twitched, and they felt something was wrong. Disciple Chu Bingyan pays homage to Master. Chu Bingyan was just stunned for a moment, then immediately knelt down and performed the apprenticeship ceremony. Huh. Looking at Chu Bingyan who immediately became his disciple, Qin Yuning was a little stunned. What happened? How come the situation suddenly reversed? Miss Chu, please think about it again. I can teach you what Lu Chen can teach you. I am a member of the Qin family. Even the absolute beginning Holy Lord dare not disobey me. You worship me as your teacher. From now on, you will be in the absolute beginning Holy Land. Walk sideways. Qin Yuning also reacted immediately and wanted to save Chu Bingyan. Thank you, Elder Qin, for your kindness. I have made up my mind. Chu Bingyan rejected Qin Yuning, then looked at Lu Chen again, kowtowed several times, Master, please accept me as a disciple. Lu Chen then said calmly, get up, you will be my disciple Lu Chen from now on. Yes, Master. Chu Bingyan stood up, and then stood obediently beside Lu Chen, her eyes still filled with excitement. Seeing that Chu Bingyan really worshipped Lu Chen as her teacher, Yi Bufan's face became extremely ugly. Originally, he thought that after Chu Bingyan and he became brothers and sisters, he could use the power of her ice spirit to break the shackles of the ancient holy body. However, now that Chu Bingyan worships Lu Chen as her disciple, it is definitely impossible to realize her plan due to the hatred between herself and Lu Chen. Lu Chen, robbed me of my opportunity at Silver Sword Peak. You humiliated me like this last time, and now you rob Chu Bingyan. You and I are at odds with each other. Lu Chen, I want to challenge you, do you dare to fight with me with real swords and guns? The more Yi Bufan thought about it, the angrier he became. Finally he couldn't bear the anger in his heart. He looked at Lu Chen angrily and roared. The roaring sound was like ocean waves, rapidly surging around and reaching every corner of the square, attracting most of the disciples. Isn't that Yi Bufan? He wants to challenge His Royal Highness the Holy Sun. Idiot, I really thought that if I won the first place in a competition, I could challenge His Highness the Holy Sun. His Royal Highness the Holy Sun is someone he can challenge. That's it. Have you forgotten how you were beaten to death last time? It's a joke that you dare to challenge His Highness the Holy Sun. Okay, I can become a disciple of the main peak, and I can watch a scene where Yi Bufan is beaten violently. It's so cool. The results are really uncertain. You haven't seen how strong Yi Bufan is in the 10,000 Beasts map. His powerful strength is like the invincible god of war. Yes, there is still some suspense. His Royal Highness the Holy Sun may not be able to beat Yi Bufan. Yes, Yi Bufan is an ancient holy body. Last time he broke the shackles of the fourth ancient holy body. The result is really uncertain. After hearing Yi Bufan's words, many disciples in Luo Xing Square started talking, their eyes full of fiery color. Although Yi Bufan's strength and talent are amazing, he is too arrogant and most of his disciples can't stand him. If it weren't for his lack of strength, many of his fellow disciples in the 10,000 Beasts map would want to repair him. Many disciples thought that Yi Bufan was humiliating himself. After all, Lu Chen was the holy son of the absolute beginning Holy Land and a long-established genius in the eastern region. His strength and talent should not be underestimated. Moreover, Lu Chen easily suppressed Yi Bufan last time. However, some people feel that Yi Bufan has made rapid progress during this period and has broken another shackles of the holy body. He is shining brightly in the 10,000 Beasts map and has a good chance of defeating Lu Chen. Qin Yuning and Yi Lingxi beside Yi Bufan were stunned, not expecting that Yi Bufan would suddenly challenge Lu Chen. Brother, don't be impulsive. Lu Chen's strength should not be underestimated. It is better to improve your strength first and then. Yi Lingxi quickly said to Yi Bufan with a worried look on her face. Yi Lingxi has had many close contacts with Chase Lu, so she knows everything about them. Although Yi Bufan's strength has improved a lot, she doesn't think her brother has the strength to fight against him. Why, Lingxi, you don't have confidence in me. I'm different now, and I won't lose to Lu Chen. Seeing that his sister did not trust his own strength, Yi Bufan said with an unhappy expression. Master, please advise my brother. There is no need for me to challenge Lu Chen now. Seeing that she could not persuade her brother, Yi Lingxi quickly told Qin Yuning that if it was Qin Yuning, her brother would definitely listen. However, Qin Yuning on the side narrowed his eyes slightly and ignored Yi Lingxi's words at all. Instead, he said lightly, Bufan, if you want to fight him, just fight him. I believe in you. If anything happens, I will help you. Stay. Yi Bufan became more confident after hearing Qin Yuning's words. Yes, thank you master. Yi Lingxi's face changed slightly and she clenched her fists unconsciously. Yi Bufan wants to challenge me. It seems that although the plot has changed, it hasn't changed much. After hearing Yi Bufan's words, Lu Chen was slightly stunned, and his eyes shimmered. In the original work, Yi Bufan challenged Lu Chen after practicing in Zixia Peak for a month at the end of the disciple competition. At that time, when Yi Bufan was high-spirited and confident, his strength improved a lot. Yi Bufan's challenge was also successful and he successfully defeated Lu Chen. Since then, Lu Chen's reputation in the absolute beginning Holy Land plummeted and he began to decline. I am not the same person anymore. Looking at Yi Bufan roaring in the distance, Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly, without any fear in his heart. Ding, the host accepts Chu Bingyan, the heroine of destiny, as his apprentice, allowing Yi Bufan to completely break the defense, challenge the host, and trigger the god-level choice. Option 1. Reject Yi Bufan's challenge, give in directly, and expel Chu Bingyan from the school, and reward Yi Bufan's favorability +10. Option 2. Agree to Yi Bufan's challenge and pretend to lose to Yi Bufan, and reward 10 spirit stones. Choice 3. Accept Yi Bufan's challenge, defeat Yi Bufan forcefully, and reward Deluo dual pupils. At this moment, the system prompt sounded in Lu Chen's mind. Lu Chen's eyes lit up and he triggered the choice again. As expected, only the protagonist and the heroine of destiny can trigger too many choices. Choices 1 and 2 were directly ignored by Lu Chen. Just kidding, Yi Bufan's favorability and that spiritual stone have a hammer. Lu Chen looked directly at choice 3. Emperor Luo dual pupils is also a super physique. It can see through illusions and trace its origins, no less than its own supreme bone. Even, in some aspects, it is more powerful than his own supreme bone. If he were to fuse the dual pupils again, Lu Chen couldn't even imagine how far his potential would rise. How could you miss such a heaven-defying reward? After deciding on option 3, Lu Chen said calmly, okay, since you insist on seeking death, then I will agree to your challenge. However, I will take action at my own risk and bear the consequences. I don't know the importance. It just so happens that I am also a person who does not know the importance. If you are defeated by me later, don't think about begging for mercy. I will not let you go. I will definitely pay back all the humiliation you brought me before this time. Quote. When Yi Bufan heard Lu Chen's words, he gritted his teeth and said with scarlet eyes. Originally, he wanted to practice for a while longer, but Lu Chen repeatedly ruined his good deeds, and he couldn't bear it anymore. Moreover, now that he has entered the realm of creation through previous training, he has full confidence in suppressing Lu Chen. The previous plan was to practice for one more month, but now that Lu Chen was going so far, Yi Bufan felt that he didn't need to endure it anymore. When Lu Chen heard this, a cold murderous intention flashed in his eyes. Okay, let's fight. If you want to fight, go to the martial arts field and fight, don't fight here. At this time, the Peak Master of Tianyan Peak spoke up and proposed to fight in the martial arts field. After all, the buildings in Luo Xing Square could not withstand the terrifying impact. The two nodded, then left Luo Xing Square and walked towards the martial arts field. As the martial arts arena approached, the murderous intent between the two became more and more terrifying, almost condensing into reality. Many elders and disciples in Luo Xing Square also walked towards the martial arts arena. After all, Yi Bufen's strength has indeed improved a lot, and they also want to see if Yi Bufen has the strength to overthrow the Holy Sun Lu Chen. Master, come on. Chu Bingyan, who had just become a disciple of Lu Chen, raised her little pink fist to cheer for Lu Chen. Zhang Yuchen didn't have any worries. She also knew how powerful Lu Chen was. She would have no problem dealing with Yi Bufen. Looking at Lu Chen, who seemed determined to kill, Yi Lingxi next to Yi Bufen looked sad. Then, she seemed to have made up her mind, and quickly and carefully sent a message to Lu Chen, Master Lu, please, don't argue with my brother. I know that my brother is a little too much, but you must spare his life. Please, I can practice with you for one more day. Lu Chen's heart froze when he heard Yi Lingxi's message. Yi Lingxi, this guy, is really out of his mind. He is crazy and giving for nothing. Can he kill Yi Bufen now? Although he had ruined Yi Bufen's impression among the higher-ups of the Holy Land, Yi Bufen was still a disciple of the Holy Land after all. Not to mention that Yi Bufen is still looked after by Qin Yuning, and there are countless pairs of eyes behind his back. Even if he uses all his firepower, it is impossible to really kill Yi Bufen. However, if this little girl comes to my door, I can't let her go easily, I have to squeeze her dry. Many thoughts flashed through Lu Chen's mind, and then he coldly sent a message to Yi Lingxi, is your brother's life worth just 1 day of practice? Haha, 10 days of practice, otherwise, Yi Bufen would never leave the martial arts field alive. Quote. Yi Lingxi, who was beside Yi Bufen, suddenly turned pale when she heard Lu Chen's words. 10 days, this bad guy actually wants 10 days. Yi Lingxi's body could hardly bear it in just 1 day. If it is 10 days. Yi Lingxi's scalp is numb and her body is trembling slightly just thinking about it. This is simply killing me. No, I can't agree to it. 10 days is too terrible. However, her brother. Yi Lingxi felt a little hesitant. Seeing Yi Bufen next to her, Yi Lingxi's heart finally softened. After all, he is his brother. As long as his brother can survive, everything will be worth it. Yi Lingxi sighed softly in her heart, and finally agreed to Lu Chen's request. 10 days, just 10 days, everything is for my brother. Yi Lingxi didn't even realize that after she agreed to Lu Chen's request, there was a hint of expectation and pleasure in her heart. Thanks for watching.